Hello? Okay. So yeah, I wanted to talk about the blockers that we have for PVH control domains. I was expecting Stefano to be here since he's okay. I mean, he has kind of a product that will go out with a PVH control domain, so I wanted. Yeah, I mean, my main concern is that it's still not security supported, and that could be an issue down the road that people may not notice. So yeah, I would like to know if we can come up with a plan or a set of steps to try to improve the situation, maybe aim to have it security supported. And what could that involve? I have, for example, a list of some missing features that I know about. Compared to PV, some missing features when dealing with hardware. But I don't know exactly how much we want to go before moving the security status. So I'm not sure. Do we want to have parity with PV in order to call it security supported? Maybe we don't care about having full parity with PV.
As far as I'm concerned, the main reason to avoid security support is just to make life easier for our downstreams. There's a load of first of all for us, so that we don't have to do a bunch of extra work for stuff nobody cares about. And for our downstreams, many of whom have customers who insist that every single patch be applied. So basically, issuing security things for things that nobody's using causes us a lot of effort and causes downstreams a lot of effort, right? So basically, if people are actually shipping things with PVH, unless we know for a fact that there's just like giant holes in it, then I think we should just say, well, therefore we'll security support it because it needs to be, if an issue is found, they need to be told.
So I think the current position of it started. I mean, the current view of the security team on it started from the original PVH v1, which everyone could see was a train wreck right from the start. And from that point of view, I think the security team did not want to touch it with a barge pole. Even when we got onto PVH v2, we were still very much in a position that every time we tried booting it, we found new host crashes. And to be honest, whilst we're still in that position, yes, we could call it security supported, but it doesn't massively count as functional. Now, if we're in a better position and by and large it boots, then the reality is, well, it either is or it isn't. If it by and large boots, then there's very, very little to PVH DOM0 that is specific to PVH DOM0. Yeah, there's a slightly different create path in during boot, but that's about it. It's a PVH VM with the same kind of permissions that a regular one gets, other than a couple of extra. And actually, that helps us out because it is special for the one special domain in the system. Which reduces the risk or likelihood that you have actively malicious stuff running in it. So if we get to a point where it actually works to a first approximation and the code's nicely integrated, which it is, PVH now is actually nicely integrated with the rest of the world rather than being a third guest type. So I think there is reason to say that we probably can justify security supporting it. Certainly, I know we've got Vates are doing a lot with PVH DOM0.
Not that a lot, in fact. We have some
Yeah, in fact, not that much with PVH DOM0. We have some experimentation, as we said earlier on SEF session with PVH DOM0 for just demonstrator need for SME technology. But in fact, well, this was about the project. The project is founded by public French bank, so they needed some code to provide. We were on very short term for this, so we imagined some demonstrators demonstrated this, and yeah, it worked. Okay, great. Bye bye. We move to the next stage, the real stuff about the SEV support in Xen. Uh, from I for me, what you say? Either you more specific about technical issues, or from what I understand, it's rather political issue which security team need to either accept that, or either it's not stable and it's buggy and it crash. So yeah, need more testing and developing. What I can say. Take this.
We don't have that many testing for PVH Dom 0, so I'm slightly worried that we may found funny issues down the road. So I don't know whether we should try to invest in more testing before declaring it supported or not. I mean, the current state is that we run experimental. Yeah.
Yeah, the other issue, if I may say, just to add. Yeah, the other issue with PVH Dom 0, just to add about this, that actually we kind of investigating about AMD peak performances, severe degradation on with virtualized per-virtualized network, and when when DOM 0 is PVH, it's the performance is divided by factor of 2. So yeah, probably need also not about only stability of the PVH DOM 0, but also probably investigate if there's some glitches, if I may say, about performances wise. So.
But I mean, the problem was with HBM, right? Not with PVH. PVH was
No,
fast.
no,
and
no, no.
HBM was slow.
It was different configuration. The problem was basically it's about. Well, we just look. We probably will discuss this. I will be happy to discuss with you about this in the other. Today, just because we are out of the scope of this this talk.
Yeah, so it's important to separate the concerns here. There are still some open gnarly issues like the topology handling versus DSDT, but that we think is just functional issues and functional weirdities, which is a separate concern for security support. Basically, it's will the security team drop everything to fix a bug?
Yeah. I agree that probably you have not much resources for that. So.
For what? For PVH Dom 0?
For to support XSA and stuff and porting all these security backports. I don't know whatever to support this. Probably I don't know.
So my question would be, what kind of security issues in PVH Dom 0 are you concerned about? So it can only be denial of service due to when running a guest domain, right? Other than that, it's no security issue, per definition, basically.
Right, but it might be that we didn't reference count something properly, or and this.
Yeah. Okay.
This was the original point. The security team's aversion to PVH started with PVH v1, which was definitely a complete and utter mess. PVH v2 is much better. And it definitely should not be experimental. I think the real question at the moment is how well it actually functions in reality. When was the last time we found a host crash trying to boot?
I would actually like to add to what Jürgen said. What is PVH Dom U is supported. Yeah. So what do we expect in the gap between PVH Dom U and PVH Dom 0, which could be a problem?
I mean, also setting it as supported make people, putting it as supported make people look like it's going to work everywhere, and the experience so far is not that positive maybe, so.
What's the experience of the guy who mostly use it for what I understand? It's hyper launch guys from Ampere. That's basically they need PVH domain. DOM0.
Do we have Stefano here yet? I haven't tested him on Matrix.
Because they probably the most active users of
So-
this.
Yeah,
You want me to go fetch him?
he's not responding. So, AMD definitely need it security supported for their use case. From an overall project point of view, it kind of works. We test it occasionally. It doesn't explode every time now. So that's a good point. Yes, there is a smoke test in GitLab CI for it now that runs. Is one on the old Lake and one on the Zen 3?
I think. Yes, it's on hardware. I don't remember which one. Maybe both. It just starts DOM0 and one DOM-U, PV1, I think.
Pretty much.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that we had it in GitLab CI.
One other thing to mention is we at SUSE have a partner who would be interested in using PVH DOM0 as a product, basically. So that's so far for the used statement.
Well, at some stage, if you probably need when SCV technology will comes out finally, and we will handle the domains, secure domains, encrypted domains. Probably it will be one of the next steps. Could be run DOM0 as with possibility to encrypt memory and to protect itself. So this clearly the use case which is imaginable and will be very convenient for this. But for now at VATS we don't have that much need for PVH DOM0.
Can we just summarize? So, what kind of functionalities PVH DOMs are missing? What kind of tests are being regularly done? And who is anyone using PVH DOM0 in a product and shipping it to people? And we summarize that stuff. That'll give us a better idea whether we should.
So we have, yes, right. So we have PVH DOM0 in our automotive stack for the IVI. If you saw my presentation yesterday with the IVI one, that's based on PVH DOM0. The reason why it's PVH DOM0 is it's because the way the GPU drivers are.
Oh God, I've forgotten that. That's the worst reason for using PVH DOM0.
What is it?
There are two main reasons for us to use PVH DOM0. One is that the way the GPU drivers allocate memory needs contiguous memory, and it would have been hard to do it with PV DOM0. The other reason is, alignment with simplicity. Let's put it that way. So they are.
certify also because you can remove the PV code there.
That's actually a third reason. You're right. So the current certification scope doesn't have the sysctl or DOM-ctl, meaning less test and less work and less money, right, for reaching the safety certificate. So yes, that is also a reason. So all of this combined, that's why we have PVH DOM0. I'm going to give you one last reason is because, with a hyperlaunch scenario, DOM0, like traditional DOM0 for us, goes away. Right? We only have the default domain, as in there is a domain that receives the hardware by default rather than having to selectively pass through the hardware. So that's the only things that we have left, and conceptually makes sense that is like the other DOM-Us, right? Just a PVH like everything else, because for us, there is no other domain other than PVH. So that's overall the reason. So we do have it in production. We're running tests, and Ray ran quite a bit of tests himself.
Yeah, actually, the reason we switch to their PVH DOM0 is because AMD GPU driver will request the IOMU support, hardware support directly to allocate the large buffer that continues the physical address. And but in the PVH DOM0, they will fall back to the Zen software IOTLB. But Zen software IOTLB, they only can allocate page by page. that we cannot handle in the GPU use case, use scenario.
I will also add, and keep in mind that the AMD GPU driver is significant in terms of size and complexity and how good it needs to perform. And the GPU driver in general works exactly as native as PVH.0, right? Even just conceptually for those guys, his team and the other team working on the AMD GPU, they were very happy once we moved to PVH.0 because it means for them less verification, simplicity also of understanding, right?
I wanted to make on your, there is no DOM0 anymore, with there not being any pass-through with PVH right now.
So
what ends up with all devices is effectively
we are
DOM0.
working on pass-through, right? For PVH.
It is being worked on, yes.
Yeah,
but,
so right now, so we still have we haven't switched to hyperlaunch yet, right? So I expect that it's imminent. So, but in our internal production tree. So, but once we switch to hyperlaunch, the next step will be to then deprivilege. I mean, to remove some of the privilege or all of the privilege of DOM0, and together with the pass-through. So this is hyperlaunch pass-through, right? Which Daniel has a demo that I think sent me on Friday. I haven't looked at it yet, but yeah, that's our plan.
About AMD GPU, we do use PV DOM0 and GPU driver in DOM0, and it works. So I'm not.
But keep in mind that we have, regressions on performance that are super strict, right? And they need to be very similar within 10%.
Which features?
User pointer, and we were allocated gas.
Are we talking about compute or graphics features? Because we only use graphics.
Yeah, we only use graphics and also very simple. So we don't use any acceleration or anything like that.
So I'm not trying to convince any one of you to switch to PVH.0, right? I'm just telling you, I'm telling you why we're using it, and maybe it should be security supported.
So I think overall what we're saying is that there's at least one major contributor that strictly does need it in a security supported environment.
It sounds like it's going to go away soon. Like after we switch to.
Well, no, because the domain construction is still the same. So for me, the hardware domain is DOM0 with is priv equal false.
Yeah, from their point of view, it's PVH DOM0.
PVH DOM0 is a different name, right?
Yeah.
The question would be, how much of your testing would apply to
Yes.
a general user of PVH?
I mean, everything except for domain creation.
Yeah. So the reality is that there's a real use case for it here. We do have it in testing. I'd forgotten we had it in testing, but that's also a good thing. And at the moment, the main concern that caused the security team to say no to it in the past has gone away, thanks in large effort to Roger's effort early on to make PVH v1 disappear into dev null. So going back, I forgot who made the point. What is the actual practical difference between a PV DOM0 and a PVH DOM0 in terms of code in the hypervisor? Because it's not much. It's really not, I don't think.
The mapping and so on. Foreign map. Yeah.
Quite a significant difference. The question that I raised is difference between PVH DOM-U and PVH DOM0. And I think there is not that much of a difference with pass-through not working, and therefore hardware working only in DOM0.
They are available now.
Yep.
Yeah, Roger fixed it last week.
So, is there any? At least at this point, it seems like it's going to be shipped in a security critical context, pretty much no matter what. So at this point, it seems like to say it's not production ready would be somewhat disingenuous.
I mean, the main point is the point that Roger made. It is not functionally complete. It could be. It could. That's not a security issue. Yes,
Exactly.
but
That's not
as
a
Roger said,
requirement that shouldn't be a requirement for security.
saying it is security supported in support.md gives make people make it read wrongly and read it is fully supported and fully functional.
Easy
But we
fix.
can add a caveat that some functionality is still missing, and then it's fine.
Exactly. Just like when the work on GPU stuff finally starts getting in, it's probably going to be the most we'll ever be able to get is with caveats X, Y, Z. But that's still way better than.
Yeah, but it's different than
Yeah.
work, but has no issue X, Y, Z, and doesn't work at all.
And there's a separate aspect. At the moment, support.md says it's experimental, therefore no one plays with it. A few of us play with
Yes,
it.
that's another issue.
So,
Well,
E-
we tried.
yep, tried and it worked. Oh.
What
Well,
went wrong?
it works. It works in GitLab to a
but
first approximation.
I think we tried to start some HVM guests.
That
with
needs
PCI
Steam
patches.
patches. Steam has patches outstanding.
That's missing, yeah, that's not
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bug, it's
So
just
the-
missing.
Yeah,
like
I
you
guess
said-
I should add PVH zero test with HVM guest, and later with HVM and PCI.
Yeah, and the thing is, we can try that now and see about it. The point is, we should upgrade the support because it's definitely not experimental. It's at least tech preview, irrespective of anything else. The question is, I guess the question is, do we want to go tech preview? Do we want to go security with caveats? Because ultimately, the only way we're going to fix these bugs is by actually having people use it. And people are probably going to be more inclined to use it as security with caveats than
Yep.
they are tech preview. So
I would just say I would wait until we can boot until the plain upstream can boot 8 guests. But once we can do that, then I would say just security supported. Yeah. Okay. So sorry, what was missing? Oh, PCI password. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So that case just say supported. I mean, it's hardly even with caveats. Basically, it's like so you could say supported with caveats, but then we're missing PCI pass-through. Okay, that's like almost nothing.
I have other things on my list, like NMI forwarding, for example. NMI forwarding, it's not there. MCA handling, it's also not there. And it's missing SRAOB and resizable bars, at least.
I feel like those are all the advanced features. Like.
Yeah, but
rebar works fine.
for PV, that will work fine.
Yeah,
How would it if we are not aware of it in the hypervisor?
It doesn't
Be-
matter.
be-
because
because
I can map it.
because Dom Zero never traps to Zen when it's playing with that.
Yeah, it doesn't trap to Zen, and then it just maps the new larger bar, and that's it, because it's DOM0 and it has access to all the MMIO space. Yeah, that's how it works.
By luck.
Yes, it does work by luck, not by design, but it does appear to work.
That
Yes.
won't work for pass-through, though.
No, but with pass-through you get already resized bar from the start, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's only Dom0 that needs to change the size of the bar.
Size behind the back of the guest.
Yeah,
But when you
yeah,
do a
and
function
that's
level
not going
reset,
to work.
Doesn't the bar get back to its previous size? Because we always do a function level reset before pass-through. And then I guess the bar will go back to its previous size.
It is supposed to, at least. It might not on all devices.
I don't know, but I was expecting a function level reset to return it to the initial state, so the smaller bar.
It is specified like that.
So,
Which GPU requires that? Intel,
And I mean, nothing requires it. It is there to work around a Windows XP compatibility issue.
which we don't care about
I know,
because
but where can I find it so I can put a test in GitLab?
Pretty much every platform from Kaby Lake onwards had it retrofitted in a recent firmware update.
I think I have a TCL NAC that has it. I think my TCL NAC has it.
Yeah,
it's a magic combination of bias options because the bias is in a position to choose
there was something specifically weird that caused Intel to backport it late in the firmware for a huge number of systems.
What was the weird something weird?
But it had existed in GPUs for 3 or 4 years now, and then it was missing firmware, and I think Microsoft forced Intel's hand, and it got backported.
So maybe this is the solution.
Sorry, I can't read that.
Sorry. Is my cursive bad?
It's just too small. Please read it out.
Okay. Supported with caveats. Some functionality is missing, and then a list of all the functionality.
Yeah, so the thing will be supported with caveats, and then in the description we'll say the following functionality is missing.
We have something similar for PCI pass-through, that it's supported with caveats and it's...
And then says, yeah, don't use them.
I mean, the support statement for PCI pass-through is pretty much useless. I think it would be much better to just say something like, Zen promises to program the IOMMU correctly. Beyond that, ask your vendor, which is what it boils down to in practice.
Patches accepted, you know.
Well, we also take care of the MSI accesses and the bars and so on. So we do a bit more. Well, we try to do a bit more, I think, just not the IOMMU only, but...
So are we going to do this for 419?
No. I mean, it's just a text change. It's not a functional change, so I don't know.
Sure. Well,
Yeah, but it's a big headline feature.
Are we going to headline, you know, PVH done zero now,
Yes,
partially
please.
supported, or are we going to do that in 420?
Is there a chance we could get it fully working in 420?
What's the chance of trying the regular HVM guest? Because if it's there and it works on the hardware, we can accept that test, and then we can.
I can write the test today. Like it's just, I guess, copying pipeline and changing one of config option.
Patch is welcome. No, seriously, if we do that and it actually works, it boots the guest up. Then
I think OSS test already creates an HVM guest also on a PVH .0. It's on your PV guest?
Well, HVM test didn't work before, so...
I can entirely believe there is a test in OSS test and it has never ever passed and is
It's
one of
passed,
the
it's passed, I know it's passed. Yeah, but it may be a PV guest. But
Probably PV.
HVM should work.
How-
You say that it wasn't working before.
How
HVM
far
we
are
have
we
passed
from
through.
PVH stub DOMs?
Well, the device model requires foreign mapping. So
Which just got fixed.
But on .0 that has always worked.
DOM0 was permitted to make foreign mappings, trusting DOM0 not to be malicious.
okay.
It was always only the tier down that was missing.
Okay, so maybe it works?
Um,
I don't know.
I mean, I've used it and it worked on my system, but I
Because I'm
don't know.
wondering if
Ship it.
Q243 could go config PV no.
And I think Stefano has also been using it quite a lot, so creating HVM guests from a PVH .0. you
Yeah,
have
so
done that
that's
quite a
what
lot.
we have. That's what we currently have, and we call it VAS 1.0, which is
Is it
current.
HVM or with the device model, or is it just PVH?
Is HVM. So
HVM and
we have PVH DOM0 and everyone else is HVM.
Okay.
Including PCI pass-through, with the patches that are on the list, not yet committed. And we are moving to everything PVH, getting rid of HVM.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Daniel, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as far as what's working today, can you hear me again?
Yeah, don't worry. Speak up.
So as far as what's working today, right now I have HyperLaunch launching 5 domains, including a PVH DOM0, and I have a network interface up and running on the network in the DOM0.
Excellent.
So that's what actually, that is the state of it. I'm still dealing with XenStore Fund, but yeah, it's all up and running.
So it sounds to me like we do actually have, we've definitely got use cases that want it. We have actual testing in places that says it's not completely broken. We've got rid of the major blocker the security team originally had to it. And for at least I hate to use the term, but it is kind of marketing, marketing side of things, upping it from experimental is a specifically good thing to get people to use it. So.
The feeling we upgraded things with less things in place before.
Oh yeah, we've definitely upgraded things with less consideration before.
Just one minor remark towards what Jürgen said. It is not just a support on MD change. There is a warning message that we issue currently during boot. We need to rip that out if we want to market support it.
I have that because I use Steam Console usually, so I already have that and don't realize about the PVH one probably.
That's fine, at which point it's removing code from the hypervisor, so that's even better.
We may want to leave the message saying that some functionality is not still available.
Yeah.
Every time for everything.
So, those messages I tend to actually find are useless because the people they're written for are the people not reading the message, which is
The rest doesn't understand what's missing from the message. So
yeah. So I think we can just drop that message. And, do we have quorum of the security team? We have. Is Julian here?
Julian is upstairs, but it's only easy.
Okay, we've got 5 of 6, so yeah, we have quorum of the security. In which case, Patch is welcome.
Yeah. Prepare something. Okay. Yeah. And then I don't know if someone is interested in picking up the missing features that we still have, or they're just gonna wait for someone.
It would be useful to keep a list of the things that we're aware of missing.
I'm glad to support .md, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
With what I know it's missing, but we probably need to expand it. Yeah, we have a GitLab.
This is also, in my opinion, relevant in support to MD because we will need to remember to update the state there so that when for example, pass-through is added, we don't declare unintentionally supported from the beginning.
Which is valid, I think. Because we're going to get faster actually quite soon, and it's not going to be support ready.
So listing it like you intend is, in my opinion, the right thing to do. Whatever we are aware of, we should name, even if people can't make sense of everything.
No, I mean, I'm just afraid that I will probably miss stuff.
Yeah.
My list is
I think
complete,
the most important thing is to mention PCI pass-through, right? I think that's key.
Yeah.
The other one are smaller in comparison.
How long is it likely to be before you could move before you could just use, before like everything that Cubes or Zen server or whatever needs is working?
How much time are you willing to invest?
So,
yeah, that's what Stefano.
yes, so the
That's already available.
And then I guess there's also the only other thing I could think of that's missing. Is there anything else that Cubes needs that's missing other than ZenStore?
It's just low.
But even Zenstore works. I mean, keep in mind that today it works everything with HPM guests. What we're talking about that's missing is either with PVH guests, which just doesn't have to do with PVH DOM0, right? With PVH DOM-use, or Hyperlaunch. Neither of them, are using ZenServer or Cubes. So
sorry, go on, Daniel.
Yeah, so as far as ZenStore goes, so what my comment was is I should have clarified. So ZenStore's up and running fine. Right now, since I'm dealing with Hyperlaunch, the domains were constructed by the hypervisor, and I'm trying to get them to introduce. So that's where I'm dealing with an issue. So outside of that, ZenStore's up fine. So if I were to create a domain now that ZenStore's up, it would get introduced to the domain and everything would be fine. I'm just dealing with issues of late init
exactly.
with the ZenBus.
So there is nothing missing with the patches on the list from Ray's team. There is nothing missing from a ZenServer use case.
The late in it, I think, has been merged quite recently. The Linux patch, I think.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
does
that helps. Yeah, that's a different issue, so not that one, but yeah.
Okay. Does that mean we could also do PVH subdomains?
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause I think
Foreign mappings should work, yeah.
Yeah, so PVH stub DOMs as of last week should now work.
That's what I've done. It says you can do PVH stuff domains.
so now we have no. So that means Cubes will have.
I guess.
So that means Cubes will have
Mappings,
no
yeah.
untrusted PV guests. Yay. and then when.
No, you still need PV guests for pass-through.
You'll need to wait for Stuart's series for pass through. but it's on the way. There's a promise of it.
Do I need this series for PVH stub-DOM with pass-through? Probably no.
Yes, you will, because
Yeah.
in that case, the device gets assigned to the stub DOM.
Yeah, yeah. So you need stewards patches, basically. We are ready because
The device gets assigned to the guest.
To the target.
right.
Stub-domain get access to config space using PCI front and back only.
Oh, that's not what we're doing, okay? So there are three, you realize there are three implementations of PCI pass-through, right? You have PCI front and back, and I have no awareness whether it works or not with PVH because we never attempted at using it.
But stub-domain is used it strictly only for config space access.
Yeah, I'm not saying it couldn't work. I'm just saying we at MD have never tried to make it work. So I have no awareness whether it does or does not work, right? Then there is the HVM stuff, but obviously only work for HVM guests because you need the trapping and stuff. And what we are finishing is the Xen-based implementation of the PCI, right?
You said it's using only config space accesses. It's only also setting up IP routes.
Sorry?
It's also setting up IP routes for the guest, isn't it?
Yeah, but those are hypercalls.
And in PVH, the interrupt numbering is different than in PV.
You need the series from Stefano. Well, the series from Ray, yeah.
How far till VPCI is security supported?
I don't know, a series plus another argument like this.
Because I'd like
So
to be able
it's
to get rid of PV and cubes.
It's different interpretation of the hypercall arguments when done from PVH, or because
So there is a mapping between GSIs and
PIRQ.
PRQ.
Expects a PIRQ and PVH doesn't have PIRQ.
Exactly.
okay, I see.
Okay, so there's another bug to fix.
There is a patch on Xen. That's the patch we have, not committed, but it's on the list.
That's the pass-through stuff, basically.
Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah.
Okay, but as we said earlier, these are functional issues. They're not relevant for security support.
I thought the consensus was already that it will be security supported as of someone sending a patch to Zendevel and someone on the security team committing it, and that the question now is about other related stuff,
Missing
like
function.
PVH subdomains, and
Yeah.
and basically what it would take for Zen server or cubes to go config PV is no and kconfig.
So if you're using the same strategy as AMD in terms of configuration, then you will need stewards to finish your series, and then you could do VPCI for stub-DOM, and then that's the only thing that's missing, really. And you could even hyper-launch those stub-DOMs.
Wait, hyper-launch exists USB could mean that we have USB in the net RAM at FES, which means we could use a FIDO key to unlock the disk.
We are getting away.
But yes, that is getting way off topic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the other stuff that I have, which is not security related, is the slowness in general of having to map things into PVH and having to map things into EPT or MPT or anything like that. That's just slow, and I don't really have a good answer to that.
As with everything, you get it functioning first, and we can work on performance second.
Functioning now.
I mean, we have numbers, and it's not terrible.
No?
No.
Okay. fine.
Because you get other advantages. But the hypercodes are slower. I mean, obviously, right?
I can run cubes on that and see how slow that is.
For cubes, I don't know. Do you use graphics from DOM0 or from
Currently,
you?
mostly from DOM0. We do some.
My observation is that the graphics is very slow in PVH. DOM0.
Okay.
Why?
We
I don't know why. I haven't figured out yet.
PVH
It is much slower than PVH.
That's a bug then. It's a bug somewhere because in our configuration, all those numbers you saw, I don't know if you were in that presentation,
Intel or AMD
are based on.
That explains it. That's why. That's what AMD would not have tested their competitor's product.
Or it might be NVIDIA, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I can run our test suits on that and came with some.
But for context, we have
Some
straight
number.
PVH. There isn't that many patches that we have, and the 92% in DOMU was based on DOM0 only in the GPU.
I admit I haven't tried an AMD system yet, so it might be different there.
Again, it's performance bugs.
Performance, yeah.
We can work on performance bugs.
Out to the cubes guys.
May it have something to do with the MTRRs?
It is possible, yes.
Because PVH cannot change the host MTRRs.
It's possible that it has something to do with that. I didn't have time to.
The GPU likes right combining errors.
Yeah.
These are not always set by the BIOS. Like this. Typically you see right backend uncachable. That's the two types you see.
PV DOM0 doesn't change the MTRRs.
No? Yeah,
No, it doesn't.
The old classic Zen fork used to use them. PVOps doesn't. It strictly uses PAT, I think.
Yeah, and it's reading the MTRR, but nothing else.
Yes, it reads them, but yeah.
And why would
it actually works only on later version because there was some bit ignored.
Well, yeah.
This is backbone, has to be backbone.
Yes.
I mean, the thing is that at least on my side, most of the systems I have are headless, so
Yeah,
yeah.
So that's a question. Most machine in CI I can provide. I have also video output there because we do use that on cubes. Is it something that would be useful for upstreams and to test? Because currently the tests, all the tests are there. They're just reporting over console and that's it.
I think that would be
I
useful.
have this data there, so
Yeah,
maybe
we have way to capture it without having to do special tricks. So I think that would be useful. We can.
from the connected Raspberry Pi, it's just the video 0, and you get
Yeah, you're
output
way
from the-
more fancy. Like, I mean, you can just capture from X11 or whatever the raw frame buffer of the GPU, right? But anyhow, any way you do it, I would take that patch. So
Yeah. So I have the video 0. You read HDM output from the test system.
the only difficulty there is check that it's not garbage, right?
Yes.
That's difficult.
How do you know it's not?
Yeah,
it's not
Well,
garbage.
I can display some known image and compare it.
Yeah.
I don't measure performance this way, but I
Yeah.
can at least see if not garbage.
Yeah.
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 Sounds like we have a plan.
Very useful to test also after suspend.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, and Patch is welcome. Anything else from the bridge, or are we all good?
I'm good, thank you.